This is a breaking update coming straight from the heart of the global financial conversation. In a stunning turn of events, renowned currency commentator Frank26 has dropped what may be one of his most bold and time-sensitive predictions to date. According to Frank, the long-anticipated rollout of the Digital Iraqi Dinar, the Digital IQD, is now expected to go live within the next 7 days. That's right, just 1 week away. This prediction is sending shockwaves through investor communities and currency forums around the world, many of which have been closely monitoring every signal coming from Iraq's central bank and international financial channels. Frank26, a prominent figure in the foreign currency exchange community, has been one of the most consistent voices analyzing the Iraqi dinar. He's followed the patterns, the reforms, the geopolitical shifts, and now, he says all signs are pointing toward one conclusion. The Digital IQD is not only real, it's about to become a functioning reality. And he's not speaking in vague terms. He's put a specific timeline on it. 7 days. That prediction, if it proves accurate, could mark a historical turning point not just for Iraq, but for the global monetary system. What makes this moment especially significant is that it doesn't come out of nowhere. For months, we've seen Iraq taking visible, strategic steps to modernize its financial infrastructure. From new digital banking initiatives to partnerships with global fintech entities and statements from officials within the Central Bank of Iraq discussing digital asset development, this has been building. Frank26’s statement comes at a moment when anticipation was already at a boiling point. What his prediction does now is put a spotlight on an extremely narrow window, a countdown to what could be a seismic event in the digital currency space. To be clear, what Frank is talking about is not merely a technological upgrade. This is not just about a new app or a digital wallet. The Digital IQD represents a full-scale transformation in how Iraq may issue, store, and manage its sovereign currency. If launched, it would signal Iraq's entry into the global race towards sovereign digital currencies, joining a growing list of nations experimenting or implementing central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. But unlike others, Iraq's situation is unique. Their currency has long been the subject of intense speculation due to the country's vast oil wealth, underutilized financial potential, and a monetary policy that many believe has been held in place artificially low due to historical conflict and sanctions. Frank26’s prediction places emphasis on several quiet but telling moves over the past week. He points to a sharp increase in meetings between the Central Bank of Iraq and international monetary advisors. There are also reports, though not officially confirmed, of software testing underway at major commercial banks inside Iraq. According to his sources, which remain unnamed for confidentiality, key players in the financial system have already been briefed and are preparing for the digital transition. If true, this would suggest that the infrastructure may already be in place, with this coming week serving as the final testing phase before a public rollout. As investors begin digesting this information, the question becomes, what happens next? If the Digital IQD does go live within this short time frame, how will that affect the valuation of the currency, both in digital and physical form? Will there be an overnight change in the exchange rate, or will it remain pegged to the current rate as Iraq tests its new system? There's no official word on this yet, and Frank26 has been careful not to promise specifics on rate changes. However, he has implied that the digital activation could be tied to a rate adjustment, or at least signal the groundwork being laid for one in the near term. The impact of this development extends far beyond Iraq's borders. The global economic community is watching closely. Institutions, speculators, and everyday investors alike are trying to gauge the seriousness of the moment. A digital IQD could enhance Iraq's financial transparency, reduce corruption, and boost investor confidence. It could also streamline cross-border trade, make it easier for the Iraqi diaspora to send remittances home, and allow Iraq to better manage its monetary policy in real time. These are not minor upgrades. They represent a leap forward into a new financial era. But there's also caution in the air. Because as with any speculative prediction, even from someone as followed as Frank26, there are risks. The Iraqi government has not issued any public confirmation of an exact launch date. Digital currency rollouts, particularly those involving central banks, are complex. They involve multiple layers of cybersecurity, legal regulation, public education, and technical infrastructure. To execute all of that within the span of a few days would require preparation that is invisible to the public, or, at the very least, tightly guarded behind the scenes. And yet, that's exactly what Frank is suggesting. That all the pieces are already in place, hidden from view but ready to be unveiled. That the public announcements are being held back deliberately, timed to release only when the system is ready to go live. This kind of controlled rollout has precedent in other countries. We've seen similar moves by China during its early stages of digital yuan testing, where announcements followed action, not the other way around. If Iraq follows a similar path, then we may not see a formal press release or government announcement until the moment the system is switched on. That could mean the clock is already ticking, and we're only days away from waking up to a new financial reality in Iraq. For those who have followed the IQD story for years, this moment feels like the culmination of decades of waiting. The speculation around the revaluation, the so-called RV, has fueled entire communities. Some have treated it with skepticism, others with unshakable faith. Frank26’s latest update doesn't confirm an RV. It doesn't promise instant wealth. What it does, however, is ignite a sense of urgency, of immediacy, and of potential transformation. According to Frank, this isn't a drill. It's not a warm-up. He claims the decision has already been made at the highest levels. What's left now is the public-facing step, the launch of the Digital IQD system. He warns that while some may miss the significance of the initial move, the real shockwaves will come in the days and weeks that follow. That's when the ripple effects will begin, on markets, on public policy, and on the belief that Iraq's economy is finally moving out of the shadows and into a new phase of modernization and global integration. Skeptics will argue that we've heard similar predictions before, that timelines have come and gone, and that without official verification, none of this can be taken as fact. And those criticisms are valid. This prediction remains, for now, just that, a prediction. There is no official document, no press conference, no confirmed calendar date issued by Iraq's central bank. But what makes this moment different, according to Frank and his supporters, is the convergence of signals. The volume of movement behind the scenes. The silence from the usual sources that would normally dismiss or delay such speculation. So now, the world waits. 7 days, Frank says. Within that period, we'll either see the confirmation of one of the most anticipated digital currency launches in recent history, or we'll be reminded again of how complex, sensitive, and politically entangled currency reform can truly be. Either way, the conversation has changed. The window has narrowed, and the eyes of the financial world are fixed firmly on Iraq. In the days ahead, we'll be watching for any indication from the Central Bank of Iraq. Any shift in language, any technical update, any movement in banking procedures that might corroborate Frank's claim. This is a high-stakes moment, not just for those holding IQD, but for anyone trying to understand where global finance is heading in a post-cash, digitally defined economy. One thing is clear. Whether it's in 7 days or 7 months, Iraq's move toward a digital dinar is no longer a distant theory. It's an active strategy. And the timing, according to Frank26, is no longer a matter of if, but when.